In this video, I'm going to show you how to use our 30 times zoom 4 megapixel pan tilt zoom camera with infrareds here. It's an outdoor camera and it is a high-speed dome, and it can pan, tilt, and zoom and see very far away. I'm going to show you how to use this camera with our DVR and use that along with a joystick connected to it. So let me kind of zoom out and show you exactly what I've got here. So I've got the joystick on the left hand side, I've got my pan tilt zoom camera in the middle, and I have my DVR right here. In the front of it, there is a mouse, USB mouse connected to that front USB port to the back of the DVR. So here you have VNC video connections. One is for the camera. There's an HDMI out going to the monitor I have. This is a Cat 5 that's actually not connected to the network, but it is connected to the joystick controller. You can actually connect this to the network if you wanted to watch the DVR over the internet. And then this cable coming from the controller would then connect into your router. That's the same as what that is for this NVR. But this setup is meant to show you that how you can actually make a standalone security camera system with PTZ cameras and a joystick controller and a DVR. And here is our power connection for the DVR. This is a VGA connection that you can use, and a lot of customers get confused by what this little green connection is. That's an RS485, and that's it's a polarized connection. A is positive, B is negative. And if you had an older pan tilt zoom camera, you would be actually connecting some of these wires into that connection right there. So the old school connection on traditional analog pan tilt zoom cameras was this RS485 connection. You see yellow in this case, the wire is positive, and orange is negative. If you did not have one of our HD pan tilt zoom cameras or HD security cameras, you'd be connecting them right over here into this RS485 connection. So what HD pan tilt zoom cameras do is simplify the amount of cabling you need. So to actually connect this camera to the DVR, all I needed to do was use the B and C cord coming out of it. That's all I have going right into the back of the DVR. That sends video and data controls, and in some cases you can even connect a microphone to these pan tilt zoom cameras depending on what they offer. So here is a audio connection as well that you can use to integrate into a microphone. Of course, the microphone would have to be powered separately. Speaking in terms of power, I have this power connection coming out of it. I terminated it into this DC terminal. I put a female terminal on the pigtail side of the camera, and then the male side here is actually coming from the power supply. Now, in your case, since this is just a demo, in your case you'd be running a extension cable in between. Just make sure your cable is properly crimped and that you have it running all the way back to wherever the DVR is. If you're mounting the pan tilt zoom camera anywhere, make sure this pigtail is enclosed inside of a NEMA weatherproof enclosure box so that it doesn't get corroded, because once these connections get corroded, the PTZ will no longer function. So just to give you an idea, this is the large pigtail that comes out of it. You're only using 2 connections with an analog security DVR that's HD capable. Here's a BNC connection coming out of it. Okay, that's for video and data, even audio on it if you decide to put a mic on it. And here is the power. So we got this connected to the DVR using the yellow cable. I'm going to repeat myself several times during the video so you make sure you can actually stay on the same wavelength as me. Here I've got my joystick controller. I've got a power connection going in the back of it, and the gray cable is definitely going to that DVR like I showed you before. If you had an old school RS485 connection, you would be using this terminal block. In this case, I'm not. It has another RS232 connection that's again for old school analog connections to RS485 converter box. We're not using that. So with this joystick, you can actually control several PTZ cameras just through one joystick. It is a network capable joystick. You can control multiple pan-tilt zoom cameras or even DVRs, and multiple DVRs with multiple PTZ cameras. So it's very robust in what functions it can provide, and I'm going to show you how to use this joystick in this kind of setup where you have one camera connected to one DVR and make it simple enough for you to use. Before we continue, I did want to mention how power supplies get connected. So this device needs one power supply, that needs another one, and that needs another one. This is 24 volts AC, so you always want to double check the power input on your pan-tilt zoom camera. Make sure what voltage it takes, and do not use its power supply on the DVR or the joystick controller because you'll end up frying them. To give you an idea, here's this big power supply that's for the pan-tilt zoom camera. It's 24 volts in this case. All right, and then I've got a 12 volt power supply that goes to my pan-tilt zoom controller, and I've got another brick for the DVR. Your DVR power supply may vary depending on the model of the DVR you use. So I'm going to show you how these pan-tilt zoom cameras get controlled. I'm going to use the mouse connected to my DVR. I'm going to right click on the main menu and go to main menu. And all I want to do is first make sure that the camera is properly set on channel 1. That's where the camera is connected. I have it set to the right protocol, which is HDCVI. Once I've done that, all I do is pull up the channel in full view by going to view 1 to make sure I'm viewing a full screen. Right click, pan-tilt zoom control. And then now I can control this camera. So I just showed you all the functions this camera can do, and that was using the on-screen display menu on the DVR. So this DVR is outputting that display that I see to control the camera. If you have a more professional setting or need quick control of the pan-tilt zoom, you would use the joystick. And the way to control it is, I've already set it up to talk to my DVR. I'm not going to focus on how to get that connected. This is just to show you how to use the joystick once you have it configured. When you enter the joystick, it asks you for a password. So you'll have to enter that password. In my case, the default password is 888888. So I'm going to flick the joystick down and then enter the password and then hit enter. Now I'm going to go into zone control that lets me control devices. ID 0 is the one for my DVR. Once I click on it, it connects to my DVR and then tells me it connected. For some reason, if you are unable to connect, you'll get a connection failed message. Now, when I'm looking at this joystick and I'm looking at my monitor, I'm going to show you what different things this thing can do. I'm going to first exit out the menu. Now, if you want to change the views you're looking at, you press, let's say, for example, 4 multi. It changes the view to a 4-channel view. Now, if I pressed 9 multi, it changes the view to a 9-channel view. Now, if I press 1 multi, it goes to the 1-channel view. It's a full screen from this camera. Okay. Now, in order to control this camera, what I would do is press 1 PTZ. That's the first channel. I typed in the channel number that my PTZ is on, and then I pressed PTZ. It connected to the pan-tilt zoom camera that the DVR knows is connected to it. So that this thing talks to the DVR and then talks to the camera now. Now, if I use this joystick, I can make it pan right, left, up. So up is going to be down in this case because I have it upside down, and then down is that way. Now, this just did a 180 turn on its own. It's a auto flip pan-tilt zoom, so it will basically has endless rotation. What endless rotation is, if I do press left, it keeps on rotating. It's a high-speed pan-tilt zoom camera, better than one of those Amazon type cameras you can find. The other thing is, the joystick also has what's called 3D zoom. So I'm going to point the camera. If you look at the lens, gonna see it moving. It's very slight, you have to look very carefully. You do that by using the dial on top of the joystick. Be careful not to break the joystick. You have to be very careful when you're using this, okay? That's pretty much it. That sums up my demonstration of how you can connect a Pantel zoom controller to a Pantel zoom camera connected to a HD DVR. And all we did was use a network-based Pantel zoom controller to talk to the DVR over the network, and that's still being standalone without using a router. There's no internet involved in this case, as you can see. Hopefully you found this video useful for your use case scenario. If you like this video, please do subscribe and like the video as well. Thank you for watching.